Good morning. Looks like we have a potential uptrend trying to break here. So let's see if we can see a good buying opportunity here. And so, ideally, in theory, we should break out to new extremes per the trend line rule that states a trend is usually going to keep following the trend, especially if there's enough bias that can push it to new extremes. And that usually does happen after a correction phase. I'm expecting a potential pullback down to the bottom of this trend line in that EMA. If we can get a touch there, I would definitely take a long off that. Otherwise, we're just going to wait for a good setup to fill itself and show itself. We want them to present themselves. We do not want to force them upon us. So we're starting to get an engulfing bearish bar per our last bar here. So the bears might be in control of this for a moment. Enough for us to get our pullback. 20 seconds left on this bar. Five-minute is looking a little bearish, so I'm going to keep that in mind. Keep really tight stops here for this potential pullback.
Order fell.
Okay, that was $125. Probably could have gotten a little bit more off that, but I'll take these little scalps. And we can still pull back a little bit more on this and
order fell.
Average into another position. And make a good little scalp on the second entry.
Order fell.
65 on that, so that's not bad. And I'll let this trend play itself out. I'm not trying to overtrade this one area. It's one thing I've had to learn the hard way several times is no such thing as perfection, and a trend will always die out. So yeah, you might be able to nab it 2-3 times and get a good gain off of it, but that doesn't mean that it's going to repeat that pattern each and every time. Where's the account center? Yeah, 165 for the day so far. Now that's one thing that's always perplexed me with NinjaTrader and their regression channels is that they're inverse of each other. So, if you want to extend them, they end up being put in this real wonky shape that you probably don't even want. Might be a little tight. That's fine. Same principle here, though. As far as our two-legged move goes, I had our breakout potential or attempted breakout right here for the first leg, and then we got our rejection phase right here. If we can get down back to, I'd say, the 70s roughly, I would take another entry here. Wait and make sure we at least get a push off this level. We don't want to, sorry, sometimes when I start watching this real close I get caught up in my thoughts, but right now we're seeing engulfing bearish bars, and right now we're attempting to wipe out this previous trend. And no matter what the rules say, no matter how many times it's worked out for you, it's not always the best idea to just jump in on that whim. Crucially, price action should be the final indication of your wanting to enter a trade. So, for example, with this one specifically, I'd really like a push, probably at least back up above this candle right here, and maybe a little more. And yeah, some of you may be looking at this and, 10 points missed, could have bought there, but trend can change real quick if we don't make sure we get this price action that we're wanting. You gotta think of the market like a big tug of war. Each one of these bars is signifying a person, if you will. The bigger the bar, the bigger the person. The more power, the more momentum they have behind the rope to pull to their side.
Order filled.
I'm liking this for a quick entry. Now this resistance is my only big issue, and when it comes to that, let's see if I can keep getting this push up, because that's what I'd really like.
Order filled.
I'll take 95 right there. So what I'm going to wait for, because I will fundamentally, and with as well as the price action rule, really should wait for a close above this resistance. Way too many opportunities to get top ticked right here. So even though we made it out unscathed, really would like to see a break and hold above even that level right there would be ideal. Otherwise we're going to see some compression right here as we fight off the sell side. Yeah, even on the 5 minute, this 90 level is real finicky. It's not wanting to break this 90 level on the 5 minute. Flat topping right there, big time. So that is definitely a pertinent level to pay attention to right now. Shit, I was texting somebody and I did not see that, so. And speaking of that, I was messaging one of my business partners down in Florida. So, thoughts and prayers for them and their situation if any of you guys are residing in Florida during Hurricane Milton. Can't remember what its name is, but wishing you all the best. Safe wishes and prayers. So obviously, if we were paying attention, probably could have gotten in on this, but I wasn't really watching. There's no telling how much of this move was made in the last 10 seconds of a trend. So might have been one of those situations where we wouldn't have been able to catch it either way unless we had a buy order set. Now, typically, again, attempted breakout will fail, so we should be seeing a correction phase. If we can get a rejection down, I mean, I would take the 90s, especially if our EMA keeps creeping back up. If we hold 90 and get new support there, I would definitely use that as confirmation level. But right now we're looking for a hard rejection back down to the EMA, potentially the 80s here. And keep in mind we have our point of control right here, so the chances of this market wanting to return to this level are stronger than it's more likely that it's going to want to revisit here than it will want to break out to new higher extremes, at least for right now. Like a little bit of a further pullback in a technical sense, especially depending on how tight you have your channels. Like, because we tend to call or label areas like this or like this down here overreach. So some people like to keep it real tight and avoid that overreach. Some people like to consider the overreach. I'm kind of in between. Some people will consider the wicks and all. I tend to try to do a majority of it. So same thing here. And I mean, this is a real loose rejection phase, but I would take it. I don't know. I'm going to go with my gut on this one and just kind of wait, even though it's probably going to pump up further. It's just these two candles have me worried, and I'm not really sure what we're going to do past these 10s right here. Definitely another level that we're seeing strong resistance here at the 10s. So it's hard for me to bet on it pushing up super high. Right here on my 5 minute, looks like the 20s are the make or break level for this uptrend, whether it's going to continue seeing that uptrend or if it's going to die out here and reverse back down to the downside to balance out the liquidity down here at the 360s. See, we're about getting to territory that I would feel much safer in taking a long position off the rejection. It's mainly because it's lining up with multiple points of confirmation for me. So if we end up breaking down to these 90s outside of our trend and scathing this EMA, little mini double bottom trying to form, or double top trying to form right there, I would probably take a quick short. Probably end up keeping the stops really tight on that. Or I don't really use stops, but mentally I'd probably end up really hovering over the close button if I did it. I only say that because I'm a big believer in our POC down here. The market will come back to this level. If it's going to come back now, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours, can't tell you. But it's going to happen. And based on the way that the chart is acting on our 5-minute right now, I'm starting to venture on the field of caution on the uptrend here. But still, nonetheless, I will definitely try to reap the benefits of a touch and go off the CMA. And we may not get it. We may not get it. I very well could have grabbed it off of this. You know, the EMA is close enough. But when you're getting a rejection back to key levels that are coinciding like this, it's just really healthy confirmation. It's green flags all around. At least for the confidence. There's been plenty of times where I've entered trades off of, you know, just stellar confirmation signals, or so I thought, and ended up eating my words, or however you might put it. Got 15 seconds left on this 5-minute, and I'm curious to see if we close and open red, because this would be the that'd be the main reason I avoid this trade. If I do, would be this 5-minute chart, depending on how big we push. Especially, you guys can't see it, but got a big engulfing bullish bar that's filling through the 85s up to the 405s, and like about from right about here to about right here. And if we wipe out all this liquidity, we could very well start going down, which isn't a bad thing. Honestly, it seems lately it's much easier to play the downside. So one of two things are going to happen here. Per the trendline rule, we're seeing a rejection phase right here. Buyers or sellers are going to get weak-handed buyers are going to get thrown out of the trades, I guess is the best way I could say that. And the buyers will take back, and the rejection phase will turn into a breakout, and we'll push up even higher, maybe to the 30s. or we're going to fail to hold up our support here. As I was mentioning with the 5 minute and that engulfing bullish bar, we end up taking that liquidity back out. It could be enough to give the sellers momentum to carry us back down to the POC 360s. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, and our POC, funny enough, just shifted to the 70, which we are visiting right now. I'll move that just below it so that we can actually see the POC and why. By the way, this is our tool, our static volume tool. Or it's like I can't even find it. It's like learn the alphabet. Nah, I'm just joking. We are what? Where is my actual POC? Who? Histogram side left behind bars. Okay. Well, guess what? We are changing. I'm trying to make this this red bar thicker, but I'll just go into the code later and change it. So there's our visit to the POC, which is basically all the motivation that the sellers need, or not the motivation. I guess I don't know how I'm trying to say that. I don't know if the sellers really care to go farther than that level, so could end up seeing our uptrend come back. Just realized I had not gotten on Discord yet. I can't remember if Discord. Discardo. I can't even remember how I did that. It's a Easter egg. And until this trend becomes one with this trend again, if it does, we will start trading this trend. And here, you hear about larger trends and such when you are trading these, and that's because if you really wanted, you could draw a regression channel from like there to there, and then see this overall larger uptrend that encompasses the smaller down and uptrends within it, which can get kind of confusing. So, don't really have a lot of legs to go off here, but the premise is the same. When you start trying to count the legs, it can be confusing. The way I see it is there's always an attempted breakout phase, and you're going to get the rejection phase. Your rejection phase, the end of the rejection phase is usually going to be your entry, and then the preceding correction phase will be your profit. It's easier to think about it like that, in my opinion. You start getting all these legs and stuff involved in it, it can get confusing quick for traders that overthink. 17 seconds left on that. It'd be really cool to see it push final push back down to maybe about right here, bottom of that wick, top of these wicks. Get an entry there and get another 10-point gainer. Otherwise, we wait. And so typically it's 9:30. Typically I don't trade longer than 10:30, and I started trading a little late. I'm streaming for 30 minutes right now, so I started 30 minutes into the market, which isn't too bad. Typically I don't like to trade the first 30 minutes, and you can see why. It's just rangy and ucky. Pre-market, I honestly prefer like the 1 hour before pre-market, like 7, 8, 8:30ish is nice. A little closer. There we go. Same thing with over here from earlier, where this 20 and such level right here is very, very finicky right now for this larger uptrend, and I'm just not sure how much we're wanting to fill it out. I mean, our 5-minute is looking actually pretty decent for a continuance of an uptrend, but I can't say for certain if that's gonna hold up. If I were to take a long here, this would be a pretty decent level. A lot of potential for a pullback or a correction. Things that scare me are the big engulfing bearish bars like this, because it's like, how am I comfortably going to buy in between any of this price action and be certain at all that the trend isn't gonna reverse and continue the momentum that it built up previously, which it's doing right now. It's one thing I've really had to drill into my head when it comes to trading, especially when it comes to minimizing losses, is price action. And you hear that a lot, and you think you're really, you think you're paying attention to price action, but I think we all tend to forget what we're looking for at times and let things slip And there's also everything's in, you know, if people can interpret things differently, but yeah, price action, not watching the price action is by far and few between the largest reason traders are going to be seeing uh, losses more consistently than profits. And as soon as you realize that high probability trade setups are the answer to staying on top of the market, the sooner you will be successful. When you're looking for high probability yields, high probability trade setups, and you're letting them come to you and not trying to force them, the chances of you seeing big drawdowns that will shake you out of trades is much smaller. Not to say that there aren't drawdowns, but there's a certain level of confidence that comes with it as well, where it's like, okay, well, we really would have to do this in order for that to make sense. And it doesn't always make sense, but you know, it's like 70-80% of the time it does make sense. And if you can make money those 70-80% of the times and make sure that you're not losing more than you made on the times that you're losing, then the way I see it, you're golden, pony boy. Golden, golden, golden. Looks like the uptrend failed to take over. And we're probably entering downtrend territory. Our POC is moving up, but there's a lot of downside potential here. A lot more downside than upside. Shit. No, I'm sticking with my OG thought. Oof. You ever do that? Let it adjust it for you? Gosh. My charts be all out of whack sometimes. But another little bit of resistance. I'm sure you can see right here, basically on this grid line at the 60s. Go ahead and draw another trend line right here. And let's just see. Kind of a loose trend line right now. I'm not being super. So for the most part, I can visualize these trend lines. A lot of times I don't even need to draw them. So if they're loose or something like that, it's not really a huge deal. Now, I mean, technically, you can get fucking technical up in here. You know, you got your downtrend, your rejection phase came up here, and then it came back there. There's some people that count legs like that. There's some indicators that count legs like that, which I think is ridiculous. Because I mean, yeah, you could make good bread off that if you wanted, but what kind of confidence is that? You know, it's like we could get another one right here. And if we take out this previous green, I'll grab it. But yeah, that's just too small a body, too big of a wick going against that previous bar for me to play that. But there are people that do. And 1 second left on this. Man, compressing hard right here between the POC. I was kind of hoping we were going to avoid that, but I can already tell what this is like. Lord. Compression zones are some of my least favorite things. You can go a long bit of time being stuck in a compression zone or just barely trading. It's like down here. That was a 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 40-ish minute stretch where we stayed between the same 20 points. Okay, so if that was our continuance or our downtrend, call this correction phase, attempted correction phase, and see if we can get a quick bag off this. Keep stops pretty tight, but at the same time, I'm probably going to exit this once we see another little chunk of profit. I missed that, but...
Order filled.
And it'll probably keep going down. I'm not going to get FOMO from that. I'm just not feeling super confident in it. Now, if we break this support right here, I'll grab another one real quick, but I'm just not trying to take unnecessary risk. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. It's just too much compression right here. This is where I end up making silly decisions. Cause it's like I was just trying to explain over here. You get stuck in these 20-point areas and you try to nab these little tiny trends. It's like you might be able to do it, especially if your timing's really good. But you know, it's like up here. You know, it can flash $30 for less than a second and then go back down to -20 and then -80 and. You know, once you start seeing that -80, -100, you start, you know, that's when that human psychology kicks in. It's like you either got to cut that shit there or you're going to end up probably holding it until it becomes a bigger loser than what you want. So we made it out of there unscathed. Probably shouldn't have. 1 second.